Hello and welcome to a discussion on complex numbers. Let's get started. So the most important thing you'll want to take from this section is that I, an imaginary number, is equal to the square root of -1, and that I squared yields a -1. Okay, and you can pause the video now and read the rest of this, or refer to your note or textbook. So let's get started by looking at adding and subtracting complex numbers. Okay, so for adding complex numbers, add the real parts and add the imaginary parts, combining like terms. For subtracting complex numbers, subtract real numbers and subtract their imaginary parts. Change the signs of complex numbers being subtracted, then combine like terms. So let's get started by looking at these two examples. We have number 1, the quantity 2 minus 4 imaginary plus 6 plus 5 imaginary. So the first thing I would suggest doing is, just for adding, remove the parentheses. So 2 minus 4 imaginary plus 6 plus 5 imaginary. The next thing you might want to consider doing, put the real numbers together and put the imaginary numbers. So we have 2, then we have plus 6, then we'll have our -4 imaginary plus 5 imaginary. So doing this, 2 plus 6 is 8, then 4i plus 5i just yields plus 1i. And that is the solution. Okay, for the next part, we have a subtraction. We have the quantity 3 plus 2i minus 6i plus 2. So up here in the instructions, it talked about changing the sign. What that really means is saying, like, there's a -1 up here in front of the parentheses, so we just want to distribute the -1, or just the negative, across everything. So we have 3 plus 2i minus 1 times 6i minus 1 times 2. So just simplifying, we have 3 plus 2i, -1 times 6i is just -6i, -1 times 2 is just -2. So bringing all the real numbers together and the imaginary numbers, we have 3 minus 2 plus 2i minus 6i. Now 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, we have 2i minus 6i, so we'll just be left with minus 4i. And if you note, most of the time we'll have imaginary numbers on the end part with real numbers being front. That's just a standard notation.